Okay, folks, we're going to shazz it up a little bit here. We've got the African Warrior Devon Petersen joining us for a bit of Zoom with whom. I was going to say, we've missed this. Come on. How are you, mate? How's it going?
Yeah, very good, mate. Thanks for the call and the catch up. I mean, it's been virtually 2 months of being within lockdown, and yeah, I think that there's a whole host of things obviously happening, and we needing to adapt, but staying under the same roof. So I'm sure it's for you. It's the same for you. I mean, generally you guys are flying about and trying to obviously and igniting the sport amongst the youth in different countries, and you have to do it now from the comfort of your own home. So yeah, I think it's probably the same for you as it is for me.
Yeah, everybody talks to it. It's like these platforms that we're on now. You know, everybody's become amazing at chatting online or video calling their grandparents. I don't know, whatever. Everybody's sort of touching base with each other like this, and it's great to see you. I mean, life seems to be doing you all right. You look well, and family and everything okay?
Yeah, I mean, first month of lockdown, I just booked on the kgs, obviously, because of obviously consuming too much luxuries because you're always at home, and then obviously started dieting again and kind of because we know that the darts is obviously going to be starting hopefully in July. So yeah, back into kind of get into shape. Started my website with the online merchandise. That's been going pretty well. Just received a shipment of stuff today, and they're all coming out today. So yeah, really, really great. This is going to be launched as well, which is the new sedan. So loads of things happening on the Devon sphere. I mean, been playing loads of online tournaments, obviously, just to keep your hand, because I enjoyed practicing a lot previously before lockdown. But obviously that practice ends up as a preparation for the weekend. But once that weekends were removed, the motivation kind of slightly dampened, if you must call it that. And I found myself playing online tournaments and getting to some finals. Loads of the ones that I play in, a lot of the PDC players playing them, like the likes of Chris Dobie, Michael Smith. There's new talent coming through, like the likes of Martin Hennigan, John Jones, and so on and so forth. And yeah, I think the lockdown has kind of evolved and made it a different way in which we approach the sport as well, which is fantastic because it just shows you how adaptable dots is and just into a different sphere, and just know that you can grow the sport, whether it be virtual or whether it be face to face.
Yeah, and I guess that, you know, people like yourself, I mean, I know of you obviously, and some of the stuff you do behind the scenes and the businesses you look at and all that kind of stuff. One of which was to inspire the youth in South Africa, which was literally 10 days before all this happened. You and I get together, we're trying to get things moving, and your wonderful enthusiasm for the kids over there, and then wallop. So it's something on the burner, but you've always got something on the go, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, the JDC was always I'm part of the group of ambassadors that want to flourish the game in the global market, basically. And you look at like you said, 10 days before, I think the world was like, hold on, let's just hang on, Devon. Let's not expand it too much. But yeah, JDC, I mean, it's always front of mind. But now, obviously, taking it to South Africa, there's a whole host of kids. Now with the online darts, it kind of bridges the gap between the logistical nightmare that we have in South Africa with its big scale or huge scale with regards to the distances the kids will have to travel. But now with the online darts, I mean, the JDC virtual now will make the sphere grow quicker. People are now more susceptible or adaptable to the virtual darts itself. And this is now not uncomfortable to play or unknown to play. Do you know what I mean? So I think this 2 months has kind of bridged the gap in a sense with regards to the online logistics. And I think it's really fantastic because I know that there's probably I think there's about 24 or 25 kids already playing online tournaments in South Africa and hosted by a friend of mine called Ashley Moody, and his kids are very involved. That will be one of the pilot areas that we will look at is Mitchell's playing once it all gets kicked off live. But once we all got obviously started and JDC virtual will probably be one of the standards that we will set in South Africa, and how we obviously connect Africa then, because then you can obviously get it to that level, which I think from from where we're at, I mean, we look at the virtual, and then you look at the soft-up, which is kind of something that traditional darts players stay away from. But now, because of the online experience, I mean, players are becoming more accustomed to it. So it's fantastic, and I think that what you guys have done at the JBC with expanding and you guys are always in the forefront of evolution of the sport, and starting with the younger kids, and becoming a generation that will know about the sport, so we can the business model changes in that sphere. So yeah, I think it's a fantastic time. Like, I know obviously COVID-19 is this dark cloud over our heads, knowing that you can't go out and all of those things, but the things that the business opportunities and the opportunities to share, like for example, my practice techniques, and some people want to play me. Before it would be virtually impossible because I'll be too busy wanting to prep and so on and so forth. Now I can actually have, almost, you call it exhibitions online, and then you have a group of people, they watch, they play against you, and they can enjoy it because it's this kind of personal touch, but it's not really a personal touch if you call it that.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, the technology now is been embraced by everybody, and I was chatting to Matt Porter from the PDC yesterday, and obviously, you know, the bigger things there, and we were just saying how technology actually has been such a bonus, and people might just think a bit more positively about that. And because we're used to not necessarily changing mindsets, because we've got younger kids that just soak anything up really, and we just try and do it but to try and speak to somebody perhaps my age about soft tip or about online darts, you know, it's a different sort of conversation with what we'd have with the youngsters. So yeah, you're absolutely right. People are starting to engage in that area. But touching on the youth, I mean, what about your youth? Where did it all start for you?
Yeah, so obviously darts was a massive part of my upbringing. My parents, my dad played. His father played they had a family team. So it kind of just became it's a family thing actually. But if I look at where I started, probably I was 16, 17 when I really started to take it serious. But my dad said I can only play when I'm 18 because of the alcohol, obviously, around it, and how my dad saw it as obviously taboo and all of those things, which is understandable. Yeah, which is kind of understandable. And when I started, I played in Mitchell's Plain, which is where I'm from. And quickly skyrocketed up the ranks. Within 5 years, I was number one in Africa, and then 5-6 years number one in Africa, and then came over to the UK and obviously gave it a massive shot, being one of the very first of the Q School group, the very first qualifiers qualified on day 2, which was fantastic. I mean, I think that year Dave Chisnell and John Henderson was also part of that qualifying school as well, which is crazy to think now you go that far back. But yeah, it's been
what year that was?
2011, the first Q School. There was 132 players, I think, on each days. Yeah, which was played in Wigan at Robin Park. It was the first time I came over. I remember the feeling as well. Like you walk in there, but it was because I know the bigger names. So the bigger names wasn't obviously there because that was the first year that they introduced it. So the top 64 of the PDC never dropped out. So what we got is all the players on the BDO making the change and so on and so forth. So when I came in, it was different. I think it was very different compared to now. And then I qualified the second time again with a field of 426 players or something like that, which obviously shows you how it's expanded. And now you got the European qualifiers. So for me, it was the initial birth into the PDC. Obviously happened when it was in South Africa. They had the South African Masters where we played against the top 8, I think it was top 8 in the world at the time. And we got our kind of opportunity to compete against them, and then I qualified, and then after that I qualified 5 or 6 times on the South African Master scale. So yeah, it's kind of been a progressive road. It's not as I thought that I would be a lot further on in my career. But I understand also that I've changed. I've had an injury on my wrist, so I've changed my technique. I'm throwing a lot better now, performing a lot better. I think I'm more matured, and I think that my outlook on the sport as well has changed a lot. Is purely before it was profile driven and Devon Petersen, and now it's the whole continent of Africa, plus obviously adding to what the African Warrior wants to achieve. So yeah, there's a whole host of checkpoints in my career so far, and many more to come.
You're making it sound like you're old.
Well, it feels. I mean, I think. Yeah, it's not old. It's more experience. I think I've been on the PDC now almost. I've probably been playing for 7-8 years now, and there's a lot of stories and a lot of low points and many high points, like loads of high points, which obviously contribute to the continuation of my career and keeps me motivated to want to achieve. So.
On that point, that's something that maybe the youngsters, maybe if they're watching this, should listen to it. Well, I suppose all amateur dart players maybe as well. Yeah, every single professional player that I talk to, even the Green Machine, they have down times. They've had down times. They've had times where they've got to regroup, rebrand, or just take a positive step in a different way, which is not easy.
Yeah, well, I think it's depending on how you are and how adaptable you can be to the situation itself. Because I remember there was a time where I changed my throw and I just didn't know what I was doing. But I competed every week in, week out. It was one of the worst years on the PDC for me. I never performed like I can perform, but I still won some stuff, as in the rounds and games, and I don't know how, but probably just the will to win, I guess. But it's
quite determined, this guy, yeah.
But I think the most important thing is understanding that every bad result or everything that go against you is an opportunity to learn and grow. And once you learn and grow, it means that you can be better the next time you approach it. So, and looking at it in hindsight and actually assessing what is happening is a more easier thing to do than to worry about it and not change it. Because if you assess it, you can actually look at a way in which to strategize and actually accomplish what you want to achieve or overcome this obstacle, if you must call it, because a lot of the game is obviously mental. It's from the mental side of the game, which is the big thing. The technical side is stuff that you can actually train, but it's the mental side that you actually have to build, and a lot of the young players coming through. And I think that's why JDC is so important and so close to my heart, and why I want to push it through to South Africa is because you can actually mold players now to become better professionals. Because if I look at myself, I came over here and never knew anything about the PDC, as in what it is to be a professional. I watched the game. I was a massive fan of the sport itself and played the sport at a high level in South Africa. But if you're coming over to as a professional, it's a complete different thing. Like you look at sports like football, for example. There's academies, and you go through the academies, and they kind of put you in a mold, and you kind of know exactly what to do. And what you guys are doing is giving you the opportunity to kind of mold these players that will be the future MVGs, Devon Petersens, Phil Taylors, and so on and so forth. Yeah. Massive. And I think that where you guys are at is fantastic. And a lot of the amateur players don't even see that, because you look like the likes of Adam Bean. He had an interview probably a few days ago, which was kind of, I could resonate with him, because I remember coming over as a big dart fan, getting my tour card, and then you're like, wow, now I'm in the room with everybody that is anybody within the dart world. You become your head so in the clouds. For the first 6 months, my head was in the clouds, because I was like, I'm part of the PDC. Every time there's a link or a thing that is talking about me or the sport itself, you have the sense of pride and proudness about it. And
top level.
Yeah, and you need to kind of keep a level head, because you need to perform as well, which is, it's not like your head is big, but you just need to position it in a way where it feeds your positivity, but also then gets you to grow as a sportsman as well.
Wow. Well, it obviously worked at certain times. I mean, excuse me, something in my eye there. You've done well at the World Championships, last 16 a couple of times. What's it like when you win your game? Everybody else is going home, and you're sat at Christmas dinner going, I'm going back for a bit more. That's got to be one of the best. That's got to be one of the best feelings ever.
Best Christmas you can ever have is knowing that you're in the tournament, because you're watching like the reruns of it, and you just know that your Christmas is kind of like, you enjoy it so much because you kind of know that after this Christmas dinner that you're having, you're gonna go practice and then get ready, and then probably 2 days later you're gonna have to go back, depending on what round you are. So it's always a great thing. And when I reached the last 16 the first time, it was. I remember being. I think I played James Wade, and he beat me 4-0 at sets, but it was 3-2. The entire game through, and I did have opportunities to actually get legs, sets from him. But I think my inexperience for that round and playing that long and at that point was probably what cost me. But I learned, and then I played against Nathan Aspinall, fantastic run, and he's now one of probably progressed, one of the most upcoming, or not upcoming, but one of the most. The players that have skyrocketed from almost virtually, I think it was probably 54 or something like that, and now he's in the top 10 in the world, which is great. And for me, the last 16, I don't think it's so much focusing on who goes home. I'm just focusing on I'm still in the tournament and there's an opportunity to become a world champ, which is massive.
There's got to be loads of camaraderie though between you guys on the tour, and a bit of a nudge here and a bit of a or a lot of you very focused and sort of come in, do job, go home?
Yeah, I think there's a lot. Like I know the circle that I kind of and I call it the circle bit, but most of the players on tour we're all quite good friends, and you could probably enjoy a beverage with everybody on the tour at any point. But the circles, everybody's kind of supportive and big fans in the groups and stuff like that. So yeah, I think there's a whole lot. Everybody wants you to achieve well, but obviously not against them. As you know, obviously it's individual sports, so we can't always be for you. But when you're playing anybody else, I'm going to be 100% for you. And as soon as there's success, I mean, it rubs off and it gives a good energy, because if the group that you deal with or you sit down with doesn't have that energy, it can affect your game.
Yeah,
and luckily for me, I
that could be a risk.
join the table. Yeah. It's show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are, what you aspire to be, which is, but look at my friends like Joe Cullen, Johnny Clayton, Mark Webster. These are all names that are table that I sit on a table. Got David Pallett as well, England representative and also PDC player. So you're looking at all of these players and you think, wow, these are names, household names, and you kind of surround yourself with them. So the mentality they have is quite infectious, and the wins and all of the successes they have, you kind of enjoy as well. So you become part of the group, and you go for the ride, and sometimes it rubs off in a good way.
Yeah. So before I let you go, so at home, have you turned into a master chef, or are you a keen quizzer or something like that? I don't know.
Not a keen quizzer at all. Yeah, I prefer to cook. I do a lot of the cooking. But yeah, I think one of the big things that I have done is I do enjoy product design, and it's a big part of just designing like new shirts, cards and accessories for a lot of the fans, because they want this personal item, and this is kind of an extension of you in a sense, because if they can't have a finger, they can have a card or a new Devon Petersen shirt or the new surround and stuff like that, which is all part of an extension, and everybody wants something that is match worn or touched by you or signed by you, personally signed. And so that's
you guys are you're a walking brand, aren't you? You're a business. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, we see this on the TV. You follow your football club, you might buy a shirt or you whatever. It's the same for you guys, but it's just you.
Yeah, 100%. And I think a lot of the players have managers that deal with that side, especially the top end players, because obviously you want to be more focused. For myself, I've been self-sufficient in a sense, and manage a lot of this just through my website. So it's great for me to be this involved, and it means that every time you send an item out, you know that somebody on the other end will be opening it up with smiles, putting it on, and liking the design and so on and so forth. And they're proud to wear it when you're on TV, or when they're at an exhibition or at a dart event, or even at their games, their local pub games, which is great for me to know. And it's a moment of that I cherish as well, and everybody that supports me and the JDC brand as well. It's fantastic.
we've seen you on many a time. You've done exhibitions and you've been great with the kids, you know, even though they might beat you. You know, no, you've been you're fantastic with people, and I think that's what endears us to you. And again, like many others, we just can't wait to see you back where you belong. Doing, I can't do this thing, whatever you do. You're gonna have to teach me how to do it.
It's simple though. It's just a little there, and you turn it in, and then up, and then.
Oh, the mirror. Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Oh yes, boy. And then touch it there, around, and then forward, and you just You
know, you just know that I'm going to be doing that when you're back on telly. You'll be thinking, is Darren doing it now? Has he got it right?
Probably not getting it right at all.
As you can see, professional at every step. Devon, mate, it's been a pleasure. Can't wait to get back to that. Also, the work we hope to do with in South Africa as well, and obviously you being a wonderful ambassador for our sport. Thank you again, and all the best, and see you soon.
Cheers, Darren. Thanks a lot for having me, and everybody supporting JDC, and you guys obviously for doing the fantastic work that you are doing with the kids. Look forward to obviously working together, and hopefully you will see me on your screens a lot sooner than later.
Brilliant, mate. Take care.
Cheers, buddy.